Councilmember Yaffe,
Here.
Councilmember Tricoci,
Here.
Councilmember Salver is not present. Councilmember Reed,
Here.
Councilmember Leonard,
Here.
Vice Mayor Fuller,
Here.
Mayor Bruder.
You can't talk yet.
Here.
You're all present.
Okay. Before we begin, I would like to introduce Miami-Dade County Judge Christine Bandon. Are you with us?
I am. I'm here. If everybody can see me and hear me.
Good afternoon. I wish we were
Yeah.
meeting in person, but this is the best that we can do.
I agree with you, but I'll take whatever I can get at this point.
Okay. If you can are you running for a position?
So what it is I was appointed by the governor in 2018 to fill a judicial vacancy. And after appointment by the governor, we have to run to keep our seats. So I am currently running in this election cycle to keep my seat on the county court bench. I'm in the domestic violence division right now. I've been here for about 1.5 years. And the election is August 18th, although there's going to be a very strong push to have everybody vote absentee ballot.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting us know and for your time. We really appreciate it.
Judge Bandon is a friend of mine, and that's why I wanted to introduce her to all of you. She helps with what she does with law and order to keep our communities safe.
Your Honor,
That's
if you would be
wonderful.
so kind, can you just share with the the viewers here? I'm not sure how many people we have viewing this time, but at least there's a record, and some people do go back and look at it. You can share a little bit about yourself and just let everybody know, why you're running and why they should provide support.
So actually had wanted to be a judge maybe 5 years into my career, and I knew I was too green. So I originally started at a big firm doing insurance defense, Conroy Simberg. I was there for about 1 year. Then I joined a smaller insurance defense firm, and I was with them for about 7 years before I joined Schutz and Bowen, which is obviously a big firm here in Miami, well-known firm in Miami. I was with Schutz and Bowen for about 4 years before I was appointed to be on the bench. I love my job. I absolutely love my job. It's hard to find a job that you wake up every morning saying you really want to go. It's incredibly rewarding. I'm in the domestic violence division right now. I've been here for about 1.5 years. There is no more rewarding job that I have ever been a part of. And that's why I want to keep my job. I love what I do. I think I've been doing a pretty good job. I don't know that anybody's had any complaints about me. At least not that I've been told, and I do make sure that I like constructive criticism. People that come into my courtroom know that I like constructive criticism because I want to learn from my mistakes. I am human. But I love my job. So.
This is Kathleen Kennedy. You have my vote because you sound like you're very honest.
Thank you so much. I try to be. Thank you so much.
Anybody? Thank you so much again for your time. We really
Thank you, Your Honor.
appreciate you taking
Thank
time
you.
out of your busy schedule. And I know that it's a difficult time for judges also.
No, and I thank you for letting me have the platform and have the time to speak. I know that I'm taking time away from your meetings, so I do appreciate that.
It's been our pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
I'm just going to remind everybody, for all the judicial races, they are county-wide. So you want to spread the word to everybody throughout the county, as far as support and just the fact that they need to get out and vote.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. So that, since I'm new to this whole world of elections, there's a lot of stuff that I forget. So I thank you so much for saying that, because people don't realize that it is county-wide. It's the entire county. So I appreciate your time.
Arlene or
Thank you for coming
Alvaro,
in.
what is the deadline to apply for absentee ballots for the August election? Do you know offhand?
It's 29 days. Wait, I'm sorry. The deadline to request an absentee ballot,
Correct.
it's like 4 days before the actual election date.
I can tell you that absentee ballots are dropping between July 9th and July 16th.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
No, I would just like to thank the judge for coming to our meeting and meeting all of the wonderful people in Bay Harbor Islands.
And I thank you, Linda, for inviting me. This has been great. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, manager's report, please. Marlene?
You're on mute, Marlene.
You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think that the deferment, request for withdrawals, deferments, and future agenda items before the manager's report. Are there any? No? Okay. I will start by apologizing for sending information a little late. I wanted you to have a list of grant opportunities. I sent you some information on the grants from RPK Funding, which is Brian and Joe. They've been working with us for many years, helping us manage grants for the town. We went through a list. I went through a list with staff, Melissa, Doug. We've gotten an estimate on most of this. This is a wish list of items that we would like to get done that we can apply for grants to get done. I wanted to put it on paper and kind of show you what I'm thinking. One of the items here was something that Council Member Leonard had asked the previous managers to put on the list, which is an economic development plan or impact study or whatever they call it, many different things, to study the business district and the best uses for the business district and make those recommendations for future changes of our code and things of that matter. I don't know if Jordan wants to add any more because that was his thing.
Yeah, just briefly, I just want to mention just one of the benefits of being active in the League of Cities is that I was appointed to the South Florida Regional Planning Council. And during one of my meetings, actually in Orlando, I had the pleasure of meeting the gentleman that works on this program with the U.S. Department of Commerce. And believe it or not, he actually lives in Atlanta and his office is in Atlanta, Georgia, but he happened to be at the same conference I was at. And during, discussing one-on-one about this program and how it would impact Bay Harbor, it was interesting to find out that the gentleman actually used to live in Bay Harbor. And I thought this is an even better opportunity. You know, what better idea to discuss the business district with someone who actually knows the business district. And I spoke to the previous manager. I've spoken to the current manager about how we can utilize this grant to best utilize what opportunities property owners and tenants can have in the business district. It's more than just about getting free money. It's about actually making sure that we can utilize those businesses and properties to the best as possible. And it's something we've talked about. I think since I've been on the council, we've always talked about doing some type of study to utilize the best use for the business district, but we've never invested the money. This is free money to do exactly what we've wanted to do. So I would really encourage all my colleagues to support applying for this grant, because if we do get it, we'll be able to give property owners and tenants some real data and real information as far as how to utilize their properties.
Okay, I also wanted to say this is a working list. We're still adding to it. Some of the grants are deadlines is June 30th, which is around the corner. Some of them are a little later. So if anybody has any ideas of anything that is not here, just reach out and let me know so we can add it to our list.
Can I say something, Marlene, please?
Sure.
Anything for the community center, if it's a grant, does it go before the Parks and Recreation Committee? So
there's nothing here for the community center as of now.
Okay, thank you.
I also gave you some information on our plan for the summer camp. We're going to be opening June 22nd through August 7th. It will be 7 weeks. As instructed by the council at the last meeting, we are charging 50% of what we normally do. So the fee for this 7 weeks will be $350. I gave you the ages of the children. Part of the county guidelines, the recommendations is that we have a ratio of 1 to 9. So 1 child per 1 counselor who has to stay with them all day. So that has a high impact on how many children we can have. So we're going to be able to do about 50% of what we normally do, give or take 72 to 75 kids. So it is a summer care camp. We are not going to be able to take kids away and have field trips or things of that sort. The outside activities are limited to drills as opposed to active games and being able to play with each other. We're going to try to bring some recreation to them. We're reaching out to places like the zoo so that maybe we can have them bring out some animals and have like an educational thing with the kids. So we're trying to work things out so that we bring things to them since we cannot take them out. So
Marlene, are we going to be able to use the school, the classroom, some of the classrooms and the field?
I have reached out continuously for a long time now to the school board. They know that we're planning a summer camp. They have said unofficially, go ahead. I also requested additional classrooms and I haven't heard back about that yet. So we are going to have the use of the cafeteria like we normally did. We are going to have use of the field for the summer camp. And we have a plan B to use some of the community center if we have to. So we are going to have it. It's just a matter of where. So we're moving forward with the plans and we're going to start advertising probably at the end of the week. The applications will be online with our new system. And it'll be first come, first serve, but it will be for Bay Harbor residents only because we have half of the slots that we normally
So
have.
are we verifying it with their driver's license?
Yeah, verifying that they are Bay Harbor residents, and most of our customers are repeat, so we know who they are and we know where they live. So yes, we're going to verify that they live here.
Arlene, did they get a refund of the last?
We've already handled that. Kathleen, can you please mute and
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
speak under public comment, please?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Also, I wanted to let you know that we are planning to reopen the dog parks. That seems to be the main question here. On Friday, we have to get our people in line. Actually, we're utilizing some of our crossing guards to help out with the parks since we're going to be going full blown into summer camp here soon. The dog parks, we're following the guidelines. We're going to open the same times as our parks, 8 to 11 and 5 to 8. We'll adjust the hours if need be, because we know that some people like get up earlier to take the dogs to the park. We're going to do the 98th and 92nd Street parks. We're going to follow CDC guidelines. And the county order says that the dogs must be on a leash at all times. I don't understand that, but that's what it says. So we need to follow that. Also now, I wanted to let you know that tennis courts are open for doubles as well. Let me see. I wanted to mention that the vulnerability assessment public engagement meeting is tomorrow on Zoom at 5 p.m. If anybody is interested in that, you can listen. Our consultants will discuss the plan and take questions from residents. I also wanted to mention that we are trying to start advertising census more. We've been putting it on social media a lot. We've been putting it on the board. We're designing a postcard that we want to send out. We're trying to come up with different ways to push the census. We are at 49.5% right now, which is not good, but it's not as horrible as some of our neighbors, like Surfside and Bal Harbour. They're like in 30-something percent and 20-something percent. So we're pushing it as hard as we can. We know it's important, and we encourage people to register for the census, we'll do whatever we need to do. I wanted to mention, since it is a consent item, item number 9, I wanted to mention real quick, Councilmember Leonard reached out to me. He let me know that this is the change orders, but it has nothing to do with change orders. It is about the Causeway Enhancement Project. He reached out and let me know that he had asked the previous manager for a price on having the bike lanes painted green, like we have on the perimeter road, instead of just the black asphalt, so that it'd be more noticeable. That wasn't part of the project originally. So if you are in favor of it, I have a ballpark estimate right now for what it would cost. It would be approximately $270,000 to do the whole causeway. I can ask firm estimate on that if the council is amenable to it. Right now, our grant for that project is $1.2 million. So if we add that to the project as a future change order, it means that we would have to pay about $70,000 from a causeway fund, which is, it's not a great amount of money, but I just wanted to get the feeling on whether to move forward with this and bring you the change order at a future meeting and go ahead with this.
Marlene, I'd like to say, I mean, I strongly am in favor of it, not just because I think it would be beautiful, but for so many years, people have complained and people have begged us to have a safe place to travel on the Causeway Island, and to give them the same privilege as the East Island for literally less than half the price. Because remember, we're going to be utilizing most of the money from the grant. So the federal government's paying for most of it. We're paying $70,000 and we can literally pay it out of the Causeway Fund. It won't pay a penny from general revenue. I think this is a great enhancement and people are going to notice it. I mean, when you think about when you're driving on the Causeway Island now and you see the black on the black with the stripe, you know, I know that most people are going to do the right thing. They're not going to deviate, but having that green makes it that much more, you know, that pop where people are going to slow down. And I like to hope that my colleagues agree.
It becomes very slippery.
I wanted to mention also that this is not the only time that this has been done. According to KCI, they let me know that they were also involved in a project like this in the city of Doral, and they had a lap project, which is what we have here, and they also did the green lanes throughout, and it looked really nice. So it's up to you. I can do whatever you instruct me to do. So I just need to hear from the majority of the council if you want me to proceed.
Marlene, 2 questions. So you're saying essentially the grant would cover everything except for 70,000, correct?
Yes. Well, you know, I don't have the final number, but yes, that's.
Gotcha. Is there any chance, and I know we've talked about this before, but is there any possibility that we can just acquire the paint and our staff can paint it?
Yeah, I don't think we can do that.
It was more difficult than that. We looked into that beforehand, and it's a material and everything else. The only thing I would ask is, Marlene, I'm sorry, actually, I'll ask afterwards. I saw Kelly was holding her hand up before, so let Kelly go, and then I'll ask.
Very much. I'm in favor of Green Path, and I think it will actually last a little longer out there because inside the city, you know, the claw tears it up. There's a lot of garbage staining that happens. And I'd like to ask if this is the same company, if while they're at it, they can come and take a look. There are a lot of areas that need to be patched and cleaned and repaired.
Yeah, it's not the same company, Kelly, but I will reach out and look about.
It might be appropriate for the other company if it's still under warranty or something, but if not, if someone can make an assessment, because there are some areas with deep gouges and it looks pretty bad.
Okay, I'm making a note of that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now let me say one thing. I mean, I'm in favor of this. However, I just wanted to be clear, Marlene. One of the things I think we have to make sure we understand budget-wise on this is the maintenance on it. And that was one of the things we dealt with when it was on the East Island. It's not just the installation, which will be covered mostly by the grant, but we have to understand clearly what our long-term expenses are going to be for maintenance. And as far as the patches and everything else, Kelly, on the East Island, if I remember correctly, when we installed it on the East Island, we were supposed to have at least 1 or 2 people on our staff specially trained by the company during installation so that we can do those repairs without having to bring them back at additional cost. Do we have that person still? Are they still on staff?
Yeah, I mean, the issue on the East Island is a little different. We have a lot of construction. The street gets torn up. We lose that section. We have to redo the asphalt, and then we have to repaint. So some areas look a lot greener than others because they are newer. So, but yeah, we do have people on staff that have been
trained for, because it wasn't just plain paint. It wasn't just, it was a little bit beyond that. I just want to make sure that, I know that we've had staff turnover in the last few years. I want to make sure that we have the institutional knowledge to make those repairs without having to pay somebody else for those. And if we have a general idea, we don't know how much the maintenance is going to be for doing it on the Causeway. Is it for, per year?
No, I don't have that right now, but I think Kelly's right. I think first of all, there's not going to be disruptions on the asphalt like there are on the East Island with the construction and all that. And I think it will be less, but I will.
I just want a general idea. I think it's a good idea to do it. I just want to have that in the back of my mind, how much we're going to spend.
And I'll check with Public Works. I'm pretty sure we still have those people on staff, but if we don't, we'll train.
Right, I was going to say that's the idea. If for whatever reason we lost that person or persons, when the new company comes in, I'd like somebody else trained.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else?
All right, it's fine with me.
It's fine with me too.
4.
Okay. Well, I think it's part of our consent agenda. So let's go to council reports.
Stephanie?
Yes.
I was just going to give an update, but if you're in council reports, I just saw an email from county that the curfew has been lifted.
Yes.
As of today, and beaches are reopening on Wednesday.
That thank God. I'm
So,
glad.
I guess that would be my report that if I may just finish that up. Every Tuesday morning, we have Zoom meetings for the Miami-Dade County League of Cities. So we'll have another one tomorrow. That's sort of where I get updates from. So.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to report? Kelly or?
I have a brief request.
Okay.
In case with Marlene, I think it's never been more important to have notifications to the citizens. We're great with the social media. Not everybody's on Facebook, but I've been following other local cities. I get the Surfside emails. I get North Bay Village text messages. And very often they're about, some kind of demonstration or traffic congestion, or the causeways on Miami Beach are starting to get shut down. And I think, it's almost like it's a code red that we don't have to put out. But I've asked Marlene to please look into that sooner than later. I really think we need more than just Facebook for instant notifications.
Yeah, Kelly, actually, we've already started doing that. I don't know if you recently got a notification about the census, but we sent a text notification just to test to see how many people got it. And we're also talking to the Code Red so that they can update our list, because our list is not updated. And I think we can only reach about 1,000 people out of 3,000 phone numbers. So I'm working with Bridget on that to get that updated so that we can do text notifications in the future, not just Code Red emergency alert.
I agree with Kelly, especially since we're going into the hurricane seasons and with, information that needs to be given quickly and, whatever it takes. I think it's something that we need to do because there are a lot of people who do not do Instagram or Facebook. I agree with you, Kelly.
I had asked in the past if, I get Bell Harbor alerts and it tells me it's a Bell Harbor alert. But from Bay Harbor, you just get this little series of numbers and, it would be more meaningful if it said Bay Harbor alerts. So that
it does now. It does now. That was fixed. It does say Bay Harbor Islands on the top, town of Bay Harbor Islands.
I haven't seen that on the alerts I've gotten. I have not received an alert in a long time, but I haven't seen it saying Bay Harbor.
Bob,
Yeah.
given the way this year's been going, you'll get another alert sometime soon.
I'm sure Marlene will send me one, or Bridget will send me one this evening, right?
Marlene,
Or you should send one out anyway to say that the curfew's been lifted. So.
please feel free to add my cell phone number. You have it, probably everyone else. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's for all of us, please. If you would.
Yeah. Okay. So are we done with anybody else has a council report or has something that they would like to report?
No.
Hearing none. Okay, let's move on. Alba, to the consent agenda.
Wait,
the
Yeah,
we have
public comment.
public comment, and we have two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, two residents that want to speak. The first one being Kathleen Kennedy.
Okay, Kathleen? Take yourself off mute, please.
I'm trying to unmute you.
Kathleen, you're on mute. You got to unmute yourself. Alba, did she
Yeah, I'm
mute
trying
herself?
to unmute it, and it won't let me unmute her.
Oh,
There,
there
we
you go. Wait, no, she's muted again.
There.
Okay.
There you go. Kathleen, sorry, can you start over, please?
Yes. First of all, we didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance. Are we supposed to say that?
We are.
We are.
There's no.
We didn't say it. That's number one. And number two, I just saw an email from Sally Heyman that the parks, all the parks in Bay Harbor Islands are open. Is that correct?
That's incorrect. I sent an email back saying, please read it carefully. It only talks about 2 or 3 county parks. It is not for Bay Harbor Islands. It is just county parks that are on that email.
Are we not county?
No.
We're Bay Harbor Islands. And the county parks are very specifically stated, Deering Estate, and I forget what the other one is.
Well, Marlene, can I ask you, North Bay Shore basketball court is working. The kids are there playing basketball. How come our basketball is not open?
Well, the kids should not be out there playing basketball.
What
It
about
is,
in Miami Shores?
no, I understand. Any courts is prohibited by the county. The order still stands that organized or competitive play is prohibited, except actually right now it's singles and doubles tennis that is allowed. But there's a lot of rules from the CDC and from the health department and from the county that dictate how they can play and when they can play. The basketball courts in this town are not in the control of the town. They're in control of the school board. We have been in talks with the school boards regarding the field and regarding the basketball courts, but so far they are not open.
Is it because we don't? Is it because we don't have staff to monitor? Do you have your staff?
It has nothing to do with our staff or our plans. It has to do with the fact that it is not our property. It is school board property. I am talking to them about it, but even if they were open, you cannot have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 kids playing basketball in the court.
She's on the phone with the town. She's in a meeting.
So nobody can run the track in the school? Is that what you're saying? It's not open yet?
That's correct. That is not town property.
So are you in touch with the Board of Education or are you in touch with Mr. Saperstein? Because, you know,
I'm in touch with the liaison. I am in touch with the school board liaison, yes.
Who do you talk to? Can I ask, Marlene, please?
Sure. I talk to Iraida on a regular basis. Actually, emailed her today. Not only that, but the mayor reached out to Mr. Bueno as well and spoke to him. So we are trying to get that, but we don't have the permission yet from the school board.
Okay.
Okay.
The next resident is Frances Newhut. Ms. Newhut?
She there? Is she
unmuted?
It's not muted.
It's not.
It's not muted.
Mrs. Newhut?
Okay. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak? I guess, no.
Okay, so then we will move on. Okay, the next item is consent agenda.
I'll move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
You need a poll.
Aye.
You need a poll
Let me do
vote.
poll
Oh,
vote, Mayor.
Okay,
All right, Councilmember Yaffe,
Four.
Councilmember Tricoche,
4.
Councilmember Reed,
4.
Councilmember Leonard,
4.
Vice Mayor Fuller,
4.
Mayor Bruder.
4.
It's unanimous.
Okay. Now, item number 10. Matt,
Piggyback
Matt.
of Largo, Florida, contract with LMK Pipe Renewal in the amount of $500,000 for the continuation of sanitary sewer cure in place, the IPP lining. The project will take advantage of a $250,000 matching grant. This is something that was planned a long time ago. We received the grant sometime last year. For whatever reasons I'm not aware of, it have been put off. The grant was actually expiring in June. I requested an extension. I received an extension until January 2021. So we can start the project and get our funding. So if you have any questions.
How long is this project going to take?
I don't know that until we put it out for bid. This is a continuation of lining that we've been doing for many years. So I don't have the answer to that right now, unless.
Hello? Hello?
Yes?
Okay, there was a mechanical problem. Is there still a mechanical problem here?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm trying to get on here.
Mayor, do
And I
you
didn't
want to
think
let
of-
her proceed with public comment?
Yes, let her.
Ms. Newhook,
Can we
go
get rid of the
ahead.
echo? There's an
I
echo.
think, Alba, if you mute the one that says Dennis Smith on it and you leave the telephone number, it will fix the loop.
Been muted.
It says here the host muted me. Okay? And that's what happened before. Who is muting me out from speaking?
No, we unmuted you.
Just muted you because you have echo. You must have multiple phones.
Or she's recording it.
Okay, well then I'll speak on this one and can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I could go on the picture. How? Okay. Well, I'm doing public comment.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. If the council can call for a moratorium on utility poles, then why can't our town mayor and council also allow town residents our First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, to call for an appeal and or a moratorium on 2 mega projects, acres of land in the town's business district that were approved with the loss of public land and hundreds of required parking spaces. Church by the Sea and the 1177 Kane Concourse project. After resigning, our former chief attorney is being investigated by the FBI. Should these mega projects and any other projects he was involved with or laws be investigated or reevaluated as well, especially since there was only plus or minus 1,000 of government TDR monies collected for this year. According to our Bay Harbor bylaws, why must the town purchase liability insurance, section 2.2 A-H, to allegedly protect and indemnify our former chief attorney to the fullest extent? if there is the possibility of wrongdoing? Why must we also protect and indemnify the town mayor, all members of the town council, the two managers who had resigned, the assistant town manager who resigned, the town clerk who became our interim town manager, and the chief of police who had resigned, and the town engineer who allegedly was laid off. Therefore, we should consider making changes that would strengthen our Bay Harbor Island in government, instead of having our town officials effectively all leaving. Perhaps an entirely new legal department, full-time and/or consulting, a new outside litigation committee instead of council members, and other new consultants, such as a new town planner, engineer, planning and zoning board, and a term limit and an elected town mayor council. Thank you.
Thank you. We were on.
Back to item number 10. Okay.
Okay, so,
I'll move it.
Second.
okay, I'm assuming it's a poll vote.
Yep.
Councilmember Leonard,
4.
Councilmember Reed,
4.
Councilmember Tricoche,
4.
Councilmember Yaffe,
4.
Vice Mayor Buller,
4.
Mayor Bruder.
4.
It's unanimous.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, before we get to 11, I want to thank Marlene for that item. When she mentioned that we were going to lose that grant, Marlene was the one that actually went and got the extension. To think about it, we were going to lose a $250,000 grant in the matter of a couple weeks because we haven't even started the project. We haven't even put it out yet. So thank you, Marlene, for doing that for us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, item number 11.
Discussion requested by Councilmember Yaffe regarding the next phase for the town-owned waterfront lot located at 9600 West Bay Harbor Drive.
Thank you. I think we briefly touched upon this the last time we met. I think we all know, we now own that land. We have not received, as indicated, the funds which the developer is supposed to provide, because that, I guess, is tied to the issuance of the building permit, I believe.
Right.
But, during this whole pandemic, during the last several months when people were home, there were a lot of people looking for places to put their paddle boards and canoes and other items into the water. I know that some people went to empty lots. They were stopped by the police. People complained and so forth. And so the options for that are limited. So I just wanted to get open the discussion and just really get an update from Marlene as to what the plan is. I know that we have to do the seawall. I know that Marlene had talked about grants for that and so forth. But, I just wanted to see if we can get a rough timeline, of what we're looking at, to get a functioning park there.
Yeah, I discussed that briefly with you. I believe that the plan is to put on the next year's budget the design phase for the park. We're going to have to get some architects to come in, talk to council members, probably individually and together, regarding their desire for that park. I don't think there's a 100% consensus on how to get this done. My idea from previous discussions many years was to have a place where people could access the water, and we're going to have some kind of design so we can put it out. So I think the timing is going to be, we're going to put it in the next year budget, the design phase, and then we'll put it out and do it. By the time that we get around to doing it, we should have the $500,000 from the developers, because that should be about a year and a little bit down the road.
So I thank you for that. When we did the 98th Street, we agreed to take money out of reserves, and then we repaid it. I think that was the part, correct, Jordan? Is that? Because I think that was your proposal.
What we did,
And so,
yeah, over 10 years.
right. And so, I'd rather not wait until, the next budget year, starting in October, to really get working on this. I would propose that if we can move ahead faster, take money out of reserves if we need to, and then replenish those funds from other sources, in the future. Because otherwise we're just sitting with this, empty lot for another 6 months or so without
I agree with Bob. I don't think we have such limited space. And if you look around, our kids have limited space, and there is nowhere else for them to be able to get in and out of their paddle boats, their kayaks. And I don't want to wait 2 years of a piece of land sitting there when we have such limited space. I agree with Bob. I think we need to get going. And when we get the $500,000, we'll put it back into the reserves that we have.
I agree.
Anybody else have any comments?
Raising her hand.
Who?
Kelly was raising her hand.
Kelly?
Yeah, I agree with Bob. And I think especially when it comes to whatever we're going to do with the seawall, and there are different options as far as the height of the seawall for launching kayaks, maybe a boat lift, or we're going to put our marine boat there. We could at the very least, lay out the money for the design fees and start working on that, because it's going to take months and months to get the permits from Durham for the seawall and things like that. So we may not even, but I wouldn't be opposed to really funding the majority of the park and then getting that money. I think it's important to start sooner than later.
Well, if I can, one of the things I would say is, I agree with everybody else here, but one thing I think we need to do is I would send it right now as is, just to Parks and Recs to get general ideas. And this is not to design. We're not at that stage, but at least we can get an idea of where they want to bring the park in the future, just so that we have, I guess at some point, a little bit of a head start. So the brainstorming from the committee, I think, would be helpful.
One other thing I had discussed with JC was putting out a survey to find out how many residents without access to dockage right now would actually use some kind of a personal water device, an SUP or a kayak. And that could let us know how many we would need to accommodate, because there might be some kind of a locker system that we have. If you live in an apartment on the interior, if you have a kayak, it's going to be difficult. We'll have limited parking, and we might have some kind of a storage option. So, I think informally we've all seen how many water toys have been out there. And not all these people are coming from the town, which would be even better. We'll know who in the town we're going to be dealing with for those kayaks and SUPs.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one of the things I was going to say is that, I think whatever we end up doing, and I'm just going to throw this out there, is first of all, obviously I have been very vocal. I do not want to try and bring a grant in by any means, because I don't want the possibility of opening up the park or having the requirement of opening the park to non-Bay Harbor residents. But more importantly, I think given the fact that we're on the canal, we've got so many residents that live in, whether it be the condo buildings, the apartments, or the homes right there, I don't think we're looking at motorized vehicles of any sort. I think a locker, some sort of, whatever design we do, but a locker for kayaks, paddle boards, etc. That's the way we need to do it, because I don't want to just have it where it's engines running up and down the canal all day.
I know we talked about this before, but there were concerns from residents who live nearby about having cars trying to pull in and out, trying to load the lockers. One of the things that we talked about before was just doing like a rental system. Maybe we could even make it free to Bay Harbor residents, where you can rent, a paddle board or a kayak, and we would have them there, because it's a limited space. And my concern is, you have people that you'll rent these out to, you're going to run out of space quickly, versus if we have, a town allotment there and you can just reserve them, and then use them. I think that allows everyone to use it, and it reduces that traffic concern that we heard from the neighborhood.
That will require someone to man that. So basically, we'll have to have an employee there during those times. So I am a little less enthusiastic about that option because it will require additional staff. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a difficult budget. We're looking at cutting everything. I understand that the council is very keen on these projects, so we will try to include that. The Parks and Rec Committee hasn't met for a couple of months, a few months because of the COVID-19, but we'll talk to them to see if they want to do a Zoom meeting. And we will contact we already have 5 firms that we have contracts with that have architects, and a couple of them have very good landscape and parks design people. So we'll contact them and maybe have them attend that meeting and listen to the suggestions.
I appreciate that. And listen, I think it's a town park, and so maybe, like I said, I'd like to have it where residents could use it for free, but maybe they donate, a certain amount of money to rent the kayak or something like that, or the paddle board to help defray the cost of the person. I mean, I think we can be creative while still allowing everyone the opportunity to fully utilize the park. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be interested in.
Yeah.
Right.
But we have to be careful because it's not just having someone there, but it's maintenance and it's liability, if we're using our equipment on there. But it's something to look at. It's just we have to be careful.
Well, we do park rentals we do park rentals for parties and things like that. And we can come up with a system where they can rent the storage area, basically.
Right, the storage, right, but not the storage. The boats are different, right? It's a little. We'll fix that when the time comes. There's no reason at this point to talk about that.
Right.
There is kayak rental and SUP rental very nearby in Oleta and possibly in Hallover again too.
Yeah, those are private companies.
We can explore having a private company come in and run it for us instead of having an employee. So there's many ways to do this. We'll just have to.
So let's send this to the Parks and Recreation Department to see what their ideas are and what they would like, and then we'll bring it back.
Marlene, you may want to check Broward County. I think Broward County offers services that are run by the county in their parks. I don't think they're outsourced to private companies. If you look at like a TY Park and all those types of parks that offer those types of services, I think they do it all in-house. So maybe they may have some insight in regards to the insurance, in regards to the process, since they probably do it.
Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay, move to adjourn.
Wait, hold on. I have to ask, is there any public comment on any of the topics?
Let me unmute some of them. Okay.
Second?
I'll second that.
There's nobody.
I'd like to know if the parents got their refund back from.
They did.
Yes,
they did.
Everything has been refunded at this point, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Adjourn.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.